Hi, my name is Beth, and you're listening to the Canna Fitness and Nutrition Podcast, where we are hanging out at the intersection of fitness, nutrition, and cannabis. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I'm so excited that you decided to listen in because you are a lover of fitness or nutrition or looking for healthy ways to lose weight, or you're a cannabis lover who wants to learn more about fitness or nutrition, or maybe you're a cannabis lover who also loves fitness. I love it. You're my people. You know that, or you want to understand how cannabis fits into a healthy lifestyle. So thank you for joining me. I've been a personal trainer for over 15 years. We're coming up on 16. And so I've been helping people get fit and lose weight for years and years and years. And I came out of the closet as a cannabis user just a few years ago when it became legally, recreationally in New York here where I live. And so I decided to go ahead and get certified as a cannabis educator as well, so that I can help my clients and you understand and pair your cannabis with your fitness and your nutrition and help you be the whole healthy person that you want to be, because the way it works in our bodies is actually a complement to fitness and nutrition. So today we are going to talk about safety, cannabis safety. Safety for the holidays is my real theme here. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot, and I've been hearing this for years, but I'm hearing a lot where people go to a get-together. So you're at your friend's house, or you're out and about, you're partying with friends, or you're at your family or something, and someone's got cannabis, right? I feel like it's usually like an edible. It's usually an edible, or it's usually a drink when this happens. But it can happen with any type of cannabis. It could happen with a tincture. It could happen with a joint. It could happen. But what happens is someone's got some, and they offer it to people who have never used it before, right? So I'm coming to you today as either or both. I'm coming to you both from the perspective of you're someone that knows it and might be offering it to someone new, and how to make sure that that's a safe experience. And I'm also coming to you as someone who is new to cannabis and maybe never tried it, because maybe you're worried about how it's going to interplay with your fitness. And how to make sure you have a safe experience. Because again, what I'm hearing is people are going to a party, trying it, not knowing what they're doing, but they're like, hey, it's legal. Everyone seems to be doing it now. And then taking way too much. And so if you're an experienced cannabis user and you've ever taken way too much, you know that it's not fun. It's not fun at all. It takes all the fun out of it. And I don't want that. And so I do hear stories, anecdotes quite a bit from clients about these situations. And it's upsetting to some degree because I really feel like safety should be one of the first things that we consider when it comes to cannabis. You know, a lot of us have been doing it for a long time and maybe just forget that it is new to a lot of people and that their systems are not at the same place we are. When you've never used cannabis, we call it your tank, your endocannabinoid tank. Your body makes cannabinoids. It's not a foreign substance by any stretch. You basically have, I like to call it like a tank, like in your car, right? You have a gas tank. And when you fill up your gas tank, you have more basically energy to go, right? So when you fill up your cannabinoid tank inside of you, which is called your endocannabinoids, you're filling up your tank with the things that cannabis does, which is regulate your mood. It regulates all your systems. It regulates your digestion. It regulates your breathing. It regulates all of your systems in your body, respiratory, cardiac, reproductive, neurotransmitters, nervous system. All those systems are regulated by cannabinoids in your body. And so we're basically filling up your tank so that things work better. But if you're new to cannabis, your tank is very low. So it won't take much for you to feel the effects. And that's really the biggest thing when it comes to cannabis to think of from a safety perspective. Is a new user, their tank is very, very low. So very, very small amounts will have a big impact. So a couple of big things that I want to share and when it comes to safety, and I'll keep this fairly brief because there's really 4 main things I want to emphasize when it comes to safety, especially when it comes to this holiday season, and there's going to be a lot of socializing, a lot of parties. And if you live in a legal state, or even if you don't, just because the amount of things that are available online now, I see this as a potential risk area. So I want to educate you on how to stay safe and how to keep your friends and family safe too. So if you're listening to this and you hear these things and you're seeing something going down, then I want you to speak up. All right? Promise me, so that your friends and family don't end up feeling uncomfortable. Well, the biggest thing to know too is that no one's ever died from cannabis. The news will try to twist it and tell you that people went to the hospital and, this and that happened. But the fact remains, no one has ever died from cannabis. It's a plant, right? You can overconsume, absolutely. But kind of the worst that happens is you feel really uncomfortable and then it wears off. You can't get poisoned. Alcohol, and one of the reasons why it's so shocking for me that alcohol is not more restricted is that you can get alcohol poisoning really easy and end up in the hospital and you can die, right? Because alcohol is a poison. So if you overconsume it, you're at risk of poisoning yourself. If you overconsume cannabis, you're going to be uncomfortable, but you're not going to die. You're not poisoning yourself by any means. And really, only THC is going to make you high. So if you overconsume, but it's CBD, which is the non-intoxicating part of cannabis, non-intoxicating, meaning you won't be high, no buzz. If you overconsume CBD, you might be uncomfortable, but worst case is you feel uncomfortable, but it won't be in a high, buzzy way because there's no buzz to it, right? So there might be other symptoms that you feel if you were to overconsume. Dizzy is a common thing. If people take too much, even CBD, and you're not high, you might feel a little dizziness. You get dry mouth, red eyes. You might feel like your heart rate might be up a little bit or might be low a little bit. You might feel changes in your appetite, right? One way or another. If you were to take too much CBD, you might just not feel hungry for a very long time because it tends to suppress appetite. If you accidentally overconsume THC, you might, depending on the type, you might be extremely hungry, right? That might be a side effect. You might be extremely tired. A lot of cannabis strains are designed to help with sleep, so you might be more sleepy. You might not feel comfortable driving. And I'm going to just, when it comes to driving and safety, I'm just going to say that using THC and driving because it is intoxicating is not a great idea. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Because I really want to get into my main points today, which are, overconsumption is a possibility, but it's not life-threatening. But my number one rule, and I always say this when I talk to anybody about cannabis, is always know what you're using. And this is really what I see as the most common problem, is that people are sharing, right? Or they're offering, or they're making homemade goods, and they're sharing it with people, and people are taking it or trying it, but not knowing what it is. And so, it's cannabis. Yeah, okay, it's weed, it's marijuana. Everybody knows those words. But beyond that, that's just a very general term, right? Are we talking about CBD? Is it intoxicating? Is it THC? Am I going to be high? What is it? What is it? And what kind is it? There's generally, when you buy cannabis at the store, it's generally contained in two, either as an indica or a sativa, which is, they're not really very factual, industry terms that make it easy to decide what's what. They're more of terms that we've kind of created in order to sell it. Because indicas generally are sedating, put you into sleep, into couch, they call it. And your sativas are generally more activating, more energizing, not designed to make you sleepy. So those are two major distinctions right there. So the gummies that you have, are they an indica or a sativa, right? When you're buying things legally, legal products should be classified as an indica or a sativa, or they might be a hybrid. And so then now you've got even more guessing games, because if it's a hybrid, it's got both in it. So now what's it going to do, right? But that's important to know. So if someone's offering you, if you're new to cannabis and someone's offering something to you, and you then that's one of the questions you should ask. Probably the first question you should ask is, what is it? What is it? What's in it? And if you're the person sharing, I mean, awesome, right? For sharing, but make sure that you tell people, okay, well, this is an indica, so it might make you sleepy. Right? Because if the person you're offering it to, or if you're trying it and you're not wanting to get sleepy, say you're at a party and someone offers you some indica to take, are you going to be able to drive home? Because you might be passed out on the couch, right? You might be asleep. So it's really important to consider what type it is. So asking the question, what is it, right? And then within that too, if depending on, what it is and what you're offering or what someone is offering you, is it a gummy, right? Is it a tincture? Is it a drink? Is it flower? Is it a joint? Is someone offering to, for you to smoke with them? These are all going to change your experience, because these all differ in how it affects your body, right? So if it's a gummy, which is considered an edible, right? A gummy is an edible, a brownie is an edible, a candy bar is an edible, a lollipop, a lozenge, anything that you're going to eat, basically, that has cannabis in it is considered an edible. Now, edibles are great, right? I love an edible. I love them because they last longer. But that's something to know. That's something really important to know. Edibles are fun. Edibles are great. I love cooking with cannabis, and you can make all kinds of cool things. Some of them are capsules. This one brand I know of, I think it's a national brand called 1906. Theirs is like a pill. It's basically you just swallow it, which is super cool and easy. And there's no calories. You don't have to worry about that. But it doesn't kick in for at least an hour. Edibles don't kick in. Sometimes it takes up to 2 hours. It depends on what else you've eaten and drank that day. So if your stomach is fuller, it's going to take even longer because it has to be metabolized. If your stomach is more empty, it might set in faster, right? Depending on if it's early in the day or you didn't eat a lot. Depending on your body weight, your size, your experience level, it's going to play a role in how fast an edible interacts with you. But generally, they take longer. Generally, they last longer. So that can be really fun too if you're out for a night and you take an edible, it kicks in after an hour or two, but then it lasts for hours and you have the pleasant feelings that last for hours. And that's a great way to enjoy an evening without alcohol, right? Is to just enjoy your buzz for as many hours as it lasts. And that's for edibles. So that's more of a joint. If it's a sublingual, all right. Now these are the tinctures. These are the oils. These are the hold it under your tongue, hold it in your cheek. Sublingually, it's absorbing sublingually. That is going, and I'm going to actually throw the drinks into this category because drinks are technically an edible, but because of the way liquid is absorbed by your body, it's just like sublinguals where like a tincture you would put under your tongue. There's some big old veins in your mouth, right? And they absorb that liquid and the oils, they absorb that much faster. So when you're looking at a tincture, you're going to feel an onset, or a drink, you're going to feel that onset like 10 minutes minimum, maybe, or minimum 10 minutes, maybe you might even start to feel a little shift. And you might be buzzy by 30 minutes in. This happens fast. It happens very fast. The oils and the tinctures, and the things that are absorbed faster. The reason edibles take so long is basically because they have to be absorbed by your system, and it just takes a long time to digest food. That's all. So now if you take a sublingual, if you take a tincture or a drink, it's not going to last as long as an edible. It will last for a couple hours, but it's not going to be as long as if you ate a brownie. Okay. Now there's inhaling. And inhaling could be a joint, it could be a bong. It could be, I'm a dry herb vape girl. I love it. I love that I'm not burning the material. I'm just inhaling the vapor, so it's safer on the lungs. But I get to use the whole flower. So I really feel good and clean about that because there's no chemicals in it. It's just, I picked it from my yard and I ground it up. I dried it, I ground it up, and I put it in my vape. And now I smoke the vapor. I inhale the vapor, I should say. It's not burnt at all. And so it's a very pure way to use it. I tend to love it. And a lot of people do because the onset's faster. So you're going to feel the good feels within 10 minutes, right? Like rapid, like less than 10 minutes usually. But it wears off faster. It wears off within an hour or two. So you have to do it more frequently. Right? So it's faster, but more frequently. So those are really good things to know, again, before you try something. Is someone offering you a drink? All right. Well, if it's got THC in it, you're going to be high within 30 minutes. So that's something to think about. Which brings me to my second main point about safety is go slow, start low. And you'll hear this phrase in the industry a lot because it's just something we coined because, again, especially if you're new, your tank is low. Your tank is super low. So just like your gas tank is low, it only takes a little bit, right, to get your car moving, to start going. And it's only going to take a little bit to start to balance your system. So you're going to feel effects faster, right? I've been using for a while, so it might take me longer to feel any effects when I'm standing next to you and you're taking the exact same amount. You're going to feel it faster and harder if you have less experience than me. If you have more experience than me, you're going to feel it later, right? You're going to feel it later than me and not as strong. Everybody's different. It affects everybody's body differently. And that's okay. It's just, you just need to know that so that if you're brand new, start with a quarter of a gummy. Just take a nibble off the end, right? If you are, if you take just a nibble of a brownie, just take a bite of a cookie. Don't eat the whole thing because you don't know how it's going to affect you unless you've had it before. If you've not had this product before, if you are trying something new, if you haven't had a drink before, drink part of it and just wait. Just relax and just listen to your body and wait for things to happen. Nothing might happen, right? And that's okay. I'd much rather have nothing happen and have you be like, I didn't feel anything from a half a drink. And then come to me then. I'd much rather have you come to me say that than have you come to me and say, I didn't feel anything with half a drink, so then I drank a drink and a half more, and then I passed out on my friend's couch and I fell asleep, right? Or I was high and I was really uncomfortable. I had a client once tell me that they found a new drink they liked and then they drank 6 of them. And I was like, well, why would you drink 6? If you're not sure how it's going to affect your body, you never had it before. I mean, that's kind of ballsy to go ahead and have that many. I would really start low, start slow. If someone offers you something, especially if it's homemade, and it's not been tested in a lab to know exactly how much is in there, then you're going to want to start small. And just to give you some perspective on milligrams, Products range anywhere from 1 milligram to, like 50 milligrams. One is obviously less, right? I think 1, 2.5, and maybe even 5 might be considered a microdose. So it's a very small amount. If you're brand new, I honestly would start you with 1 milligram or even a half of that, just to see how your body feels, because there's no sense in overloading you and having you be uncomfortable and have a bad experience. There's no reason to rush it. You can always try a little bit more tomorrow. Try 1 milligram today, see how you feel. Try 2 milligrams tomorrow. If that was okay, then, see how you feel. And then the next day, if that still doesn't feel anything, try 3. I would go that slow because it's that important to me that you have a good experience, because it is an incredible feeling when you find the correct dose. So start slow. Start with 1 milligram. If someone hands you something and it says it has 10 milligrams, you're either taking a sip, a bite, a nibble, or you're saying, no, thank you. Do you have anything with less in it? Right? Or you're splitting it with someone, you're sharing a 10 milligram drink. You could split among 4 people, right? And everybody tries a few sips and see how you feel. That's what I would recommend you do. The number 3 tip that I don't hear this as much, but it's really important, and it's one of my major practical tips for everybody, because if you're going to go out of your way to get THC, get some CBD. CBD is available online. You can buy it. It's legal. It's not intoxicating. So if you're going to go out of your way to get THC, then go out of your way to get CBD, just to have it on hand, especially if you think you might be uncomfortable, or if you plan on sharing it with people who might be uncomfortable, if you're less experienced. Because CBD, as much as CBD and THC go together and have what's called the entourage effect, they work together beautifully, they also work against each other in certain ways. And while THC stimulates the receptors that make us intoxicated, make us high, make us buzzy, CBD blocks some of that action with the receptors. And so it doesn't allow you to be as high. It brings down your high. So if someone hands you a joint and you take a couple puffs and after 10 minutes, you're like, okay, whoa, hold the horses. I am uncomfortable. I don't like this. I really regret doing that. Then what would be super cool is to be able to then take a couple of puffs of CBD and bring you back down to where you started, right? Lower that high, make it less uncomfortable. You could do this exact same thing with a gummy. You take a gummy, maybe you took 2 gummies and you weren't supposed to, even though I told you not to, and then you feel really uncomfortable. All right, well, if you can take a puff of CBD, great. If you can hold a gummy in your cheek for a little while, that's gonna help things calm down faster. Or a sublingual will help things calm down faster, or a drink. You can try to hydrate yourself, of course. Make sure that you are eating food and just trying to relax. Which brings me to my last safety point here, which is go with the flow. Just go with the flow. It cannot hurt you. Worst case, again, back to the things I talked about in the beginning, worst case, if you have a bad experience, you might feel dizzy, you might feel uncomfortable, you might feel unsteady, you might have a dry mouth, you might have red eyes, you might be really thirsty, you might be really hungry, or you might have no appetite at all. You might feel uncomfortable, but it will not kill you. It cannot hurt you. It is not a poison, unlike alcohol, which you can get very sick and really hurt yourself if you overconsume alcohol. But if you overconsume cannabis, it's not going to hurt you. It's just going to be uncomfortable. So your best bet is to just ride it out. If you can go to sleep, that's a great idea, because then you'll wake up and you'll feel totally fine. Drink lots of water. But people tend to not have hangovers with weed. It happens, but it's just not as common as alcohol, because alcohol is so dehydrating for your body and cannabis is not. But always make sure you drink water. So, if you can go to sleep, if you can just kind of just chill out, put on some music, hang with a trusted friend or a family member, put on a funny movie, let your mind just relax and just relax into it, get the giggles, and just try to go with the flow, because within a few hours, you're gonna feel better depending on, when you took it. Again, you might just want to go to sleep. That'll make you feel better. But just hang in there. If you think about the stereotypical stoner, right? We're talking like Snoop Dogg and, the old stoners from the 70s, and everything is peace, love, and hippie man, right? And just think about the vibe that cannabis projects. It's it's chill, it's go with the flow. You're not going to get ragey. You're not going to, you're not going to start getting angry and hitting people. You're going to be calm and chill. And so go with the flow and just relax and try to relax. Even if you don't love it, relax, let it pass. It will pass. And hopefully that saves your experience a tiny bit by just relax. Just try to relax. Just try to relax and just enjoy. Again, pop in a movie, put on something silly, put on some music, and just sit back. Close your eyes if you want, and just let it ride, let it flow, because it will wear off. And that's one of the cool things about it. So those are my top safety tips for the holidays this year. So if you're, again, lots of gatherings this time of year, between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and with cannabis being, more present and more legal and more available than ever, I just want you, if you're a user or if you're a new user, I want you to feel safe and comfortable using it, and not be nervous that you could be hurt or harmed in any way. I don't want you to be scared of cannabis at all. So if someone does offer you a gummy at a party, you can confidently say thank you, take a nibble, but not take 3 of them, right? Because Beth said, start low, go slow. And so I hope that helps. And I would love it if you would share this with anybody. Always rate and review. That helps more people hear the podcast. Share this with people who are in your life that might be new to cannabis, or that might be into sharing, which is awesome. Sharing is caring, right? So if you have any questions, or if you have personalized questions about you specifically, or how it impacts you in your life, just send me an email. It's beth@cannafitnessnutrition.com, or I hang out on Instagram a lot. You can message me. It's Beth_CannaFitnessNutrition. And I would love to hear from you. I do love hearing from you. I love your questions. So thank you so much for listening, for pressing play today, and have a great day. I'll see you next time.